Welcome back to Throning Thrones. I think we called it at one point. This is about Season 8, Episode 5. I am incredibly depressed right now. The episode was amazingly terrible. I kind of just want to end it right now, but for everyone's sake, I'm going to keep going. You guys can thank Danielle specifically for this episode because almost halfway through Game of Thrones, watching it the other day, I said, I'm not watching this anymore, turn it off. And she's like, no, we have to finish it. So, thanks, Danielle.
Yeah.
Thanks, Danielle.
I'm glad we did because I have a lot of hate to share with you guys.
Oh, I have a lot to share as well. What's on your head right now? Don't move.
What's up there?
Okay, we're good. It's gone. Let's just jump right in.
All right.
I hated
What
it.
you got?
I hated it. I hated almost every minute of it. Almost every single minute. And I know it's popular to say now, and you're expecting me to hate it.
Yeah.
But I'm about to have a stroke.
I tried to love it. I wanted to love it. I went into the episode struggling to love it, and it just didn't happen. I can't even fake it, guys.
Well,
Even within that, okay, so that first scene with Varys writing the scroll, and then how all of that unfolded with Tyrion going to Daenerys, and then just roasting Varys.
Can we take a step back from that first, though?
No, we can't. I'm not done talking. So it just...
Women, right?
It was way too forced. They flew through all of that way too fast.
Flew through like the dragons?
Yeah, and then they just torched it all.
So the reason why I want to take a step back is because my anger started in inception of the episode. The end of episode 4, they're all in front of the gate to King's Landing, right? They're ready to go. Mm-hmm. And Cersei's like, everyone turns around, and then they just leave. That was, you guys remember, last time, that was my problem. And I knew they were just going to leave. So Cersei lets them leave. Just, bye! They go back home. I think, they use a wish orb and they return back to Dragonstone.
Well, Dragonstone's actually, fairly close to King's Landing. It's off the coast, like King's Landing is, so.
Okay, that's fine. So they march over there, they go home, and then smash cut to that scene where, Daenerys is like...
She's like, I forgot to put on my concealer today.
Yeah, and then you have the whole thing where someone betrayed me, it's Jon, isn't it? And he's like, no, it was Varys.
Well, she means that at its inception, it started with Jon.
Don't say Inception just because I said Inception. It makes you
look
look
Inception, you make you look weak.
Whatever.
Anyway.
No one likes you anyway, by the way, because last episode you said you don't care about Ghost.
I'm fully into it. I mean, I'm just leaning into it at this point.
Okay. Watching the Varys scene back, because we watched it together, you saw him write everything and send things out. So do you think that he sent out the stuff and he intentionally burned a piece of paper? Or do you think he's like, oh, I'm screwed, they're going to catch me, let me just burn things right now? Like, what was going on there?
I think he already sent a letter out.
Yeah.
And the second letter was, he was maybe hoping that they would believe that he burned a letter already.
Yeah, almost. Danielle put it was almost like he's smart, so he wanted to
That's
think.
why he knew. He's very calculating. He took his rings off. He knew what was happening.
Smart enough to maybe leave.
What do the rings mean, by the way? Why do you take the rings off?
I don't know, but I think it's meant to be like a visual cue so that we as the viewer understand he knows exactly what's coming for him and he's willing to accept it.
And but I don't understand what the rings mean. Why are you taking rings off? I guess I'm dead now. Don't need these rings.
I don't know.
I'm only gonna guess, and this is probably wrong, but maybe they're passed down to different. What's he called?
Whisperers.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
So now let's just go through it. So Lord Varys gets essentially taken prisoner and brought down to execution land. And this scene, this is almost where it started to go into super suck mode, where we've had Varys since the beginning. And he's always kind of been the voice of reason for everyone. And he's between us and us as the viewer.
I was always really aloof of Varys, though.
But he was kind of cool in a way.
You were kind of like, oh, you sneaky bastard, but good job.
It wasn't like Littlefinger where you're just like, this guy's talking out of the side of his mouth. Yeah. Don't trust him.
What, Rob? What do you want?
So Varys is on the beach, right? And I feel like Daenerys has always been obviously calculating, but always asks questions, assumes innocence, right? And she would even
No, the opposite. She reacts
Really?
emotionally. That's one of her weaknesses.
I feel like recently she acted emotionally. However, as she's the breaker of chains and everything like that, she always
Well, so the prelude to his execution already happened last season when she made a promise to him, and he made a promise to her.
Yeah, and
so she
he
fulfilled
breaks
that
that promise.
Yeah.
Wow, that's one thing that was fulfilled in the show.
But,
unlike
I mean,
every other
even-
prophecy.
But even how we got there, it was just over in an instant. There was hardly any buildup. I mean,
Yeah,
I feel like it didn't really mean anything.
well, Varys essentially gets an off-screen death, right? You see the dragon coming out of the darkness, like, I'm going to do it perfectly. And then she says Dracarys, and the dragon waits like the longest amount of time since he's ever heard the term, and then burns him. And then literally it's a first-person perspective, no scream, nothing. You're just like, oh, I guess she's dead, right?
Yeah.
Or so it
But
would
then meanwhile,
seem.
smash cut to like 20 minutes later, and everyone's like, I'm kind of on fire. Ow!
Well, we also have the amazingly written CW scene where Daenerys is in the room with Jon, and she's kind of like, bum, ba-dum, give me some love. Right, and Jon Snow is essentially like a $500,000 paid extra at this point.
Oh my God.
Like he just is.
No hate towards Kit Harington. He's a good actor.
He's a
No,
good
but
actor,
this
but he's
episode, they're
literally
like,
he's literally an
"Who?"
extra at this point.
Yeah.
When they touch down after Daenerys said go fight and they touch down in King's Landing, he literally walks out of frame and starts talking to one of the other extras in the background, like, "Hey, did you bring an extra water bottle to this scene?" And the camera's just like, we'll get that in post. He's like, oh, I love you. Everyone knows I can do an amazing Kit Harington impression. I love you. And she's like, well, then kiss my lips with your lips. That's in there. I remember it. And he goes to do it, and he's like, I don't know if I'm disgusted
It's
with
like, you taste like my aunt.
I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily that because he still says he loves. Well, maybe
it's I mean, we know. Oh, so this is the other thing. Last season maybe it was last season, when Daenerys roasts the Tarleys, he's like, no, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
And now he's like,
I think
fine.
he's conflicted because he says he loved, but it's like a different type of love where it's like the love for your
well,
country.
just allegiance.
Yeah, it's like blind allegiance, really, at this point.
Yeah.
But then when she's like, fine, let it be fear. And let's put something out there right now.
Okay.
We don't care that she became the Mad Queen. I'm not angry that she became the Mad Queen. I am excited that she became the Mad Queen.
I felt that.
Her flying around and burning the city was the least of the problems in this episode.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That looked kind of bad. But we'll get to that later.
Okay, so now we're at King's Landing. Kit Harington's in the background drinking a water bottle. The scene progresses. But we also, as that's happening, I think, Daenerys told Tyrion that, next time you mess up is going to be your last time. And he's kind of like, this bitch, I knew it. I knew this was going to happen. And then he...
By the way, we caught your brother off screen.
Yeah. See, that's not great. She says to Tyrion, next time you mess up, it's going to be your last time. And that's kind of when it finally clicked for him. After seeing Varys die, and Varys says, I hope for the sake of the realm that I'm wrong. I hope I'm just being executed. And then she says, next time you mess up, that's your last time. And then he has to go to Sir Davos and say, hey, you're an amazing smuggler. And he's like, I'm not going to like this, right? Knowing essentially what Tyrion's asking for. So then Tyrion shows up, talks to the Unsullied, and says the most unfunny CW Flash the Musical type of dialogue. Can I eat your king? Can I go fishing with your tampons? I mean, whatever. We speak the common tongue. Cool extra. Glad you got as many screen time as Kit Harington in this one. It's just same amount of dialogue. And then we have the scene with Jaime, right?
Yeah.
So, do you guys want to say anything about that? Or you just want me to storm the gates?
No, okay, so I will say something about it. I think the dialogue between Jaime and Tyrion, I did kind of like, to be honest, because they've had similar talks before where either Tyrion was prisoner or Jaime was prisoner, I think at one point. They've had similar exchanges, and I do appreciate their relationship and brotherhood and kind of like familiarity. So I didn't feel that part of the episode was contrived. But I think that's all on the actors at that point, like making that scene work.
Yeah.
You know what was bad about that? Was after Tyrion released Jaime, nobody checked on them at all.
Well, they forgot that they captured him.
Right.
But now, I'm sorry, everyone, but that scene to me, I loved that scene. It was amazing, but not in the way that you're gonna expect.
No.
The reason
Do you have
why
an old movie reference you're gonna throw in here?
it's not that Harry and the Hendersons was not that old. Anyway,
It's really not even that.
okay. Here's why I loved it. It really felt that Jaime was the writers of this whole thing now, and that Tyrion was the viewership with all of our theories and saying like, are you sure that you really should have killed the Night King like that? Isn't there a prophecy? No, I'm going back to however I want to write it. Yeah, but like, it doesn't have to be like that. If you just go to King's Landing and you slay Cersei and fulfill the prophecy and not get crushed by rocks, wouldn't that be better? No, it wouldn't be better if we do that. How about I get stabbed 100 times by Euron that shows up out of nowhere? And he's like, please, you've always been good to me for this past 10 years. The show has been good. Just, come on, man, just give me a hug. Make the last episode better. We're going to make the last episode horrendous. Just give me the keys and let us get out of here, and we're done. And I was watching that scene beyond meta. I'm kind of like, they get it. They know how bad this is, and they're just showing us our new journey.
They took any potential character arc and path, because Jaime's on a path to redemption. They're like, yeah, you know what? Flush that down the toilet, whatever. It would have been much more interesting if he went back to plead with her and ended up like killing her or something, like being her demise.
Let's do this.
Instead of just like,
we're not going to get off topic with Jaime. Let's still go with this one. This is going to bring us near the end of the episode, but we're not ending right now. Is the prophecy that Cersei was always worried about was that her brother was going to kill her, right?
no.
Yes.
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 No,
Don't be wrong. The camera's looking right at you. 3.
When
Two,
did it say that?
one.
From where? Where's the prophecy? It says that.
God, you're putting me on the spot now.
Yes, right on the spot with.
The Wood Witch? The
Yeah.
Wood Witch talks about someone younger and more beautiful would kill her, meaning Daenerys.
No, it's
and
her
that's why
brothers.
she's afraid.
No,
That's why she was
I'm
afraid of
so
Daenerys.
excited for the comments now. You're going to get wrecked.
I couldn't quote the exact prophecy because
That's what she says. Someone more
Dale,
young and beautiful
You need to
will
be
usurp
you need to be
her.
vague when you're talking about these prophecies, so people
But it doesn't
stay on your
actually
side.
say. She doesn't say that. I don't think she says that this person will kill her, but they will take the throne because she says
She
you will
says
be
it-
queen. Shut up! I'm talking. You will be queen one day, but someone more young and beautiful will come along. That's what she says.
No, that's Snow White.
Okay, insert the clip here.
That might
and
be
we'll see who's
a
right.
different part of the prophecy, but there is a part of the prophecy where they talk about her children
what prophecy,
dying.
though? Like the Wood Witch. She's
Yeah.
the one that.
But her
put
children
forth-
died, and
But she
even-
doesn't say anybody will kill her unless it's in the books.
Yeah.
Are you talking
No,
about the books or the show?
It's even in the show. So
Okay, in the show, no,
she's-
they're not. No, it's
hold
not.
on. She's sitting down.
I don't remember it being in the show.
before
but
Jaime
I do
leaves.
remember the
Before
books.
Jaime leaves.
Yep.
Before they're standing on the big map.
Yep.
She's sitting down in her chair, not in the Iron Throne, talking to Jaime, saying that like, he's always meant to kill me. And Jaime's like, no, it's not like that. He's different. I'm telling you. Let's move on right now.
No, she says something like, "We were brought into this world together, and we will leave together," and that's why the writers felt that ending was poetic. But
Don't
it just
worry, we
sucked.
have our
All right,
subs.
just insert the clip.
I'm not going
right.
to insert the clip.
You are going to insert the clip.
Okay, big problem. We went sideways there, so we had to stop for a moment and looked it up. Dale had a rage stroke. I had a rage stroke. Unfortunately, she was right. That prophecy that I wanted to talk about the brother killing Cersei was only in the book and didn't happen in the show at all. I thought it did. I think my brain connected something that it shouldn't have. So 1 point for Danielle. Basically,
even.
where I was trying to go with Jaime was that him leaving after Tyrion said, hey, go into the city and everything, his character arc could have been fulfilled where he goes in and Cersei doesn't want to ring the bell. Jaime goes in there to essentially, make her do it, and she doesn't want to do it, so he has to kill her. He then rings the bell, but Daenerys just doesn't care anyway and still does what she kind of does.
You're saying that would have been better?
That part would have been better, would have been like a better fulfillment of that character. And someone else...
Well, that's kind of what we were led to believe.
Someone else
heavily
from...
implied.
I forgot. I think it was our comment section. I don't want to steal something, but, I'm going to... They said that Rhaegal should not have died in the last episode. They should have saved it for this episode. So let's say Cersei attacked with 2 dragons. She wipes and the bells ring, right? And then she lands down and she's looking at the Red Keep like, we kind of did it. I had to burn a lot of people. And then Euron would have been like, doof, 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 then killed that dragon. And then she would have been like, raged out, flew in, and then started melting everything. Would have been so, whoever said that, you're amazing. But it would have been so much better for her character, so much better for that story.
And more believable because they already set it up that the Scorpions can easily take down a dragon, which they shouldn't be able to begin with. But when you set it up that they can take down the dragon so easily, and then in the next episode the dragon dodges everything, you're just like, oh, okay, guys.
Then the battle kind of like takes place, right? So Tyrion lets Jaime out. Jaime tries to make it to the square. Arya and the Hound kind of like teleport there. They're just like, let's just walk in the front gate.
They just forced everybody in the King's Landing. Yes.
Yeah. You're there. Everyone's there now. Everyone's on the same page. We're all here.
Yeah.
Daenerys is like, flies down and starts melting ships left and right.
Yeah.
They can't hit her because of blood magic, right?
Meanwhile, Captain Hook, that's his name?
You're on.
Yeah, Captain Hook is like, huh? What?
Oh, man, so... The problem with showing Euron kill a dragon in the previous episode...
Exactly what I just said, yeah.
You can't... Why is he not manning a scorpion in the next... He's literally like, you see that? You can shoot it too and get XP points. Why isn't he manning one of them?
How many ships were there?
Let's say
I don't know,
20.
20?
20.
Okay. How come all the Scorpions weren't facing in different directions, all keeping 24/7 watch for this dragon?
Because that would have been a setup for a really bad video game plot where someone throws a rock, hits someone, and it goes a chain reaction of everyone shooting each other. Just...
Well, they should have had like Winterfell soldiers go under the water and like show up on the boats and kill everybody.
Oh, no, are you thinking of Pirates of the Caribbean?
Oh, no.
All the ships just got melted. The guards, the golden, what is that, golden compass? The golden army.
Oh my God! Wait, okay, yes, the Golden Company. The guy at the front of the Golden Company. I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. Nobody cares. There was no character development. He's like, I kind of look like an ape. What's up? I don't care about you. I don't care.
Yeah.
And then he runs like a Guno coward, like, oh no, and dies in the most pathetic way. It was so bad.
It was
like,
mildly
nobody
funny.
cares.
It was mildly funny, though, that they were sitting there like, you'll never make it past the Golden Company. And then you just hear like the destruction and they're like, that sounds bad.
Yeah, and the dragon like blowing up the wall behind them and having it fall and crush all of them. And that was pretty cool.
Yes, but I want to make a special call. I said it while we were watching. You can't show Jon Snow behind one boulder in the battle at Winterfell blocking the dragon fire.
That was different fire.
And no, that's the same fire.
Magic fire, blue fire, different fire.
The dragon starts melting everything, left and right, melting guards, melts the company. They start raiding. It's barely a fight. Eventually, the Lannister army, well, the Golden Company's gone. They're essentially just like cheese on the ground. You have the Lannister army that get pinned into a corner, and Jon Snow and Grey Worm lead the rest of the forces up front. And they're in that little cool, like almost alleyway, almost kind of a main street with the little alleyways.
Alley, yeah.
And they're basically like, oh man, what's happening? She has melted every single scorpion. It's donezo. They throw down all their weapons, and Jon Snow's like, cool. Daenerys waits on the perch. The dragon's like, Gah! It's yelling at everyone. It was like, okay. And then you hear the bells go off. And to me, I was like, wow, that was kind of quick. You know, they did what they had to do. But really, that's what should happen when someone has a dragon. What are you gonna do?
Well, I feel like
dragon?
I think there was a good amount of build up to that moment. I wasn't sure if Cersei was going to surrender. To be honest.
I mean, she was kind of crying the whole episode, but the bells ring and everyone's kind of good to go. And then Daenerys just freaks out for no reason. She just freaked out. Why? Seeing the Red Keep and just pissed her off or something? Why is she freaking out?
Oh, you had to watch the part after where the writers explain.
Oh, with the guy with like the weird malformed mouth. He's like, well, you see, I really liked how I wrote this. And Daenerys freaks out and just starts melting things, right? And it was cool how they switched perspective to the ground and you start feeling for all the people.
I honestly, that whole part, I don't know, what was that? Like 25 minutes, 30 minutes?
It could have been like 40 minutes.
A whole lot of nothing. Like, I just did not Like, it wasn't moving the story forward. You had cutaways to, okay, so what's Jaime up to? Okay, so what's the Hound up to? But for the most part, it just felt like filler. Like,
it got
was just,
boring. It actually was boring to watch all these
it was
people
the
burn
same
down.
thing over and
It
over.
literally felt like Game of Thrones stock footage.
Yeah.
Just play this one here. There's a scene of a dragon. That guy's melting. Didn't he melt in the last scene? Doesn't matter. I think we just killed Arya, but it's fine. We'll use her in
right.
another scene.
Flip the violence switch. We got this.
Yeah, I think I'm getting lost right now. I think Arya's already in the Red Keep before everything starts getting melted.
Yes.
Okay, so her and the Hound kind of have that
Yeah, they are.
that like big brother or uncle niece type of thing, which saying that now is kind of not good. But he's like, don't be like me. Turn around, get out of here. And she's like, okay, I'll do that.
He's like, you don't want to have melto face like I do.
So he goes up because he knows what he has to do.
They could have wrote it in such a way that she became the Mad Queen, and I still liked her. You know what I mean? Like, she could have been the Mad Queen, but she could have been a cool villain. And I think the way she turned was bad.
But I think that's what they...
And that's why I don't like her.
But that's why I did like Cersei, because she was a villain, but she was a cool villain.
Yeah. Until this episode.
Until they just like stripped her of that in this episode.
Well, right out the gate, when Daenerys starts melting everyone, I was like, this is cool because that's how I would play a game. You know, if given power to do like, okay, you could either be really good or really bad. Bad, instantly bad. And I start melting things. I was like...
That's how you'd run a country.
Yeah, immediately. It's like, what, you disagree? Melted. Next.
That's like you playing Just Cause, basically.
She starts attacking the Red Keep, which is a symbol of her family losing everything. So maybe she wants, like, cleansing fire. Fire destroys, and from the ashes you rebuild. So maybe she just wants to wipe out the Red Keep and everything associated with it.
Yeah, D&D said the bells reminded her of basically being completely screwed over by Westeros.
Boo! Arya is, leaving the keep, and you have the Hound walk up the stairs.
Arya's
right?
playing running simulator like the whole episode.
That was the worst.
I mean, I know I'm like eating my words a little bit on this, but I still stand by that one episode with the Night King and Arya. But this episode, whatever. Anyway, this episode was just like, come on, please stop, please stop.
Again, like I said with the dragons, you can't set up something in a previous episode and break it in the next episode. So you set up Arya to be a superhero, and now you're showing her running around like garbage pails on the thing, almost getting crushed by boulders every 2 seconds.
Yeah, dude, and she gets knocked down in a crowd of people. She did not get knocked down in a crowd of whites that are supposed to be stronger
And you saw
than
a
people.
gust of wind go past the Night King.
That's what I mean.
Insinuating that was Arya.
All right, let's not get back into that because there's huge
I don't want to
differences.
rehash that, but it seems like every episode this season that came out completely ruined the one before it.
Right, they don't, and then you're holding out hope like, okay, so maybe they'll do this. That's why they did that. No,
Okay.
there was no thought behind anything.
At all. The Hound walks up the Ganondorf castle and he sees Cersei, he sees the mountain, and he sees the Sith Lord. I forgot his name too. Whatever.
Qyburn.
Okay. What?
Qyburn.
Qyburn. Sure.
What? That's his name?
Count Dooku. Count Dooku standing right there.
Okay, Count Dooku, yeah.
So, and the 5 extras that just die instantly.
No, there was
because-
like, because there was like 10 soldiers up there.
Yeah, and he's just
that's
like,
trouble.
okay, so this is the part that I want to bring up. Go ahead.
Yeah, right before that. So there was like 10, 15 soldiers, whatever, up on the thing with her. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. The Hound has to fight all of them.
Yeah.
And then as they walk down the stairs, instant rocks. Just kills like a whole squad of them. And you're like, all right, well, now it's more manageable, I guess. But that was cheesy.
Yeah, just a whole bunch of rocks. You'll never defeat me. My only weakness is rocks falling from my head. Oh, God.
I swear I heard Zelda in the background go, when that happened.
When Sandor rolls up and then the mountain like just mush hose Qyburn's skull.
scene.
That was
Best
real.
part of the
I love
episode.
that. Yeah.
He's like, I hated you.
Yeah. Like without even just like, oh, I think this banana's gone bad. He just throws it
That was
against
the
the wall.
most Game of Thrones as this episode.
But I don't think he meant to kill him. He meant to just be like, out of my way, I'm the mountains. But obviously he's the mountain. And he's just like, oh, I completely mushed his whole skull.
Oh, well, not Cersei, not my problem.
So then Cersei just like, oh, okay, and just like kind of like
Yeah,
slowly, she's in the
awkwardly
background,
stage right exit.
walks out of frame. How you couldn't figure out a better way to film that scene? That was so awkward. It was so hard to watch. One of your main characters just awkwardly walks out of frame. What the hell?
The main villain.
The main villain oh yeah, you know the person that we're waging this war against? Oh yeah, she's just gonna awkwardly walk out of the frame eating like a bowl of popcorn. Like, oh, oops.
You now have Clegane versus Mountain. And I don't know if you guys have made it this far into the video because we've been very everywhere, but what the hell is Clegane Bowl? Why everyone kept saying Clegane Bowl?
You don't know?
What the hell is
That's their last name. Sandor and
isn't his last
Red
name Clegane?
yeah.
Clegane Bowl is the upcoming battle between the two.
Yeah.
Who is Bowl?
Like Super Bowl.
Like, yeah.
What? What? That's what you were obsessed with for 10 seasons?
Yeah, we all wanted to see them fight again.
oh, I
Bull. Clegane Bull. It couldn't even be like Clegane boxing match.
That's more stupid.
So he's fighting him, and we have a scene. That was cool.
That fight scene would have been cool if they took it out of where it was. Because, like, the explosions and all the stuff going on in the background, while they meant to have it add to that scene, I felt like just kind of cheapened it.
He's fighting him, right? He stabs him. He takes off his armor to show him he's cool. I'm sorry. He knocks his helmet off first and be like, yeah, that's what you look like, you ugly piece of crap. And then he stabs him, and he takes more of his clothes off like, oh, brother, this is Game of Thrones. Get ready, zip. I was like, no! But, so he's fighting him, and Clegane is getting his head crushed, so, you know, through the eyes.
There were so many times. Okay, we just saw him mush Qyburn's skull into the concrete, and then Sandor, he throws him up against the wall with what it seems like the same force, and he's like, "That's fine."
See, Danielle, I'm going to coin a new term here. So there's plot armor. Everyone's obsessed with it. However, there's this new thing called blood armor, which is now where you're beyond the shadow of plot armor, where normal things can't kill you.
Where you have like Deadpool blood.
So it doesn't matter how much blood's coming at you, anything fatal that clearly happens to you, doesn't matter. You now have blood armor. Skull getting crushed, blood armor. Getting thrown down the stairs with the same ferocity that he crushed an old man's skull, blood armor. You're completely fine.
It's an infomercial.
Blood armor. Everything that we just said and you watched in that fight, Clegane then stabs the dude through the eyeball into the brain, right? Doesn't matter. He might be a zombie. He might be whatever he is.
We don't know what he is, really.
Poorly explained character. He was stabbed through the brain, and he's just like, everything's fine with me. I'm the mountain. Now, Clegane tackling the mountain through a brick wall, because that's cool, through a brick wall and falling into fire, and you have that juxtaposition shot of them falling down, and he kind of like did his thing, and he's always afraid of fire, but the only thing he had to die with fire, cool. I don't believe the mountain can die now. You stabbed the dude through the brain. Why would a fall into fire kill him?
I thought after he got stabbed in the brain that he was kind of shorting out. At that
Nah, he was just
He-
like,
he got
I'm
hit
the
in the brain.
mountain.
He was like, oh, ooh. Like,
It's an instant death.
not for a magic zombie. He's a magic zombie.
The Night King died with one stab to the chest. He's the magic
That's a
zombie.
different kind of magic zombie.
Yeah, so the magic. What killed the Night King? was
Shut-
the right
Shut
type of
up.
magic.
Shut up.
That magic zombie had a magic weak point. This
Listen,
magic zombie
okay,
didn't have a magic
okay,
weak
so
point.
I fully believe that the flames did kill the mountain because it would just like torch his flesh until there's nothing left. He's
Okay,
still
and a
made of
knife would
flesh.
kill his brain.
It did kind of.
I don't know.
It started to kill his brain.
Oh.
Listen,
Yeah, so speaking of which, so you now have Jaime in the classic CW move, makes it to the beach at the exact same time that Euron's like,
He's like, oh, hey, Becky, I didn't know you were going to be here.
I've literally been waiting somewhat in the water like an alligator like this for like
like
40
Captain Hook, you mean?
for like 40 minutes for you to walk up so I
Me
could
and my
do this.
goatee have been hanging out here waiting for
So they start their fight, right? And Jaime's sword skill starts plummeting rapidly. The guy has like a knife and he's got the sword. Jaime once again with blood armor. I don't want to recap the whole thing, but Jaime gets stabbed in the side after literally punching Euron in the head with like a infinity gauntlet. Twice. That's a death. Another death. What's happening? Do you know how to write? Blood armor. So he gets stabbed. His blood armor goes off. He's like, come on, dude. You stabbed me. And Euron's like, yeah, take that. How does that feel to get stabbed in a non-fatal spot? I'm going to sit on this rock while I catch my breath. You want a Capri Sun, bro? No, I'm good. I'm going to crawl to the sword. Take your time. Wait, crawl to the sword? That's a bad thing for me. So he runs and he stabs him again. Jamie's like, you got me right in the blood armor. And then he takes his sword out, and I think they trip or something, and they go in for a bro hug and kiss because they, they're sealed. Their fate's sealed because they both had sex with the queen. But Jaime forgot he had a sword, and he stabbed Euron. And then Euron's like, oh no, I lose. Jaime leaves stage left, and then for the first time in Game of Thrones history, Euron's like, I killed Jaime Lannister. Fourth wall break. What are you doing? What are you doing? That was horrid. Horrid.
There was no setup to that. Like, I guess, I mean, the only way that I could see it kind of making sense is Euron is so cocky that he needs to have like the last word even in death.
Those like one-on-one scuffles that they set up are usually fantastic.
Yeah,
when it's like that, like no music, quiet struggle fight.
Oh, dude, I'm glad you brought it up because the best scene that they ever filmed with that was Jon Snow versus the Night King. Jaime goes into the keep, brings down Cersei. They cry together. They go into the crypts or whatever the hell they are, and they hug it out. Mad hug, and then everything starts collapsing around them. Bad poetry in action. They just get crushed with debris.
The way that she's reacting to all of this when she's finally decided to leave the Red Keep, I just feel like even in a situation like that where there's no hope at all for her, I feel like it was still out of character for her to break down like that. Even Cersei watched her children die, and she's supposed to care about her children more than she cares about her own life, and she didn't necessarily break down.
Oh,
like
she
that.
forgot about that.
I just, that moment, it just felt so out of character for Cersei. She was an awesome villain, and this episode kind of just ruined that for me.
All right, so now we have Arya. She was like stumbling around like it was Nathan Drake or something.
That felt like it went on literally forever.
Mm-hmm. What the hell is with the horse? What did the horse do? And she's just like, and then she just gets on the horse and leaves.
There's a really good explanation for that horse.
Oh yeah, no, I'm ready for it.
That is the horse that takes Arya to a world where Game of Thrones is still good.
Expectations, 10 out of 10. Episode 1 out of 10. Garbage. I have no words left. There is one more episode of this series to come.
At least we got to see Emperor Palpatine get his head smushed.
Honestly, I leave you with this. When everything was transpiring, why didn't Arya just jump out of the sky and kill the dragon like she did with the Night King? Just, you might as well at that point. You've already established that. I would have given you points. Instead, no, she walks around like she doesn't have any powers anymore.
I would have been more okay with seeing her, like, Matrix dodging rocks and stuff.
Right? At least
that's what they established last time.
But yeah, let us know what you thought about this episode. Let us know what you think about New Jeff. And thanks for stopping by. Leave your comments. I know last time I said that I was going to read people's comments aloud.
You did.
I definitely did. And I just want to show you what disappointment is like part 2. The last episode, full of disappointments. This also full of disappointments. No comments read. We'll see you next time.